then hit this.
When Paul Ryan is paraphrasing the Declaration of Independence, he says this: "Our rights come from nature and God and not from governments." But when President Obama paraphrases the Declaration of Independence, he leaves something, well, something pretty important out of it.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed with certain inalienable rights, life and liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The Founding Fathers actually wrote, "endowed by our Creator." Well, Phyllis Schlafly knows a war on religious freedom when she sees it. She's been fighting for the conservative cause and pro-family values for over 5 decades. Her latest book is called No Higher Power: Obama's War on Religious Freedom. I spoke to her earlier. Phyllis Schlafly, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Hello, guys.
I feel I've got to tell our audience your influence on my life, because your book, It's a Choice, Not an Echo, that you wrote back in the early 60s, was a turning point for me as a young teenager and helped to cause me to be a conservative, which wasn't very popular in South Arkansas back in the 1960s. So first of all, thank you for influencing generation after generation toward a conservative and also a godly understanding of our nation's heritage. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Mike. It is an honor to be here, and many people have told me they came into the conservative movement reading A Choice, Not an Echo in 1964.
Well, I have a feeling that you're going to get a whole new generation if they'll read your book, No Higher Power, because you outline in your, I think, typical straightforward style, to be charitable about that, this is an administration that really does have what appears to be a hostility toward expression of traditional Christian faith.
Yes, now that clip that you just showed where Obama omitted the word creator, you can't blame that on the teleprompter because he's done it repeatedly. And he does seem to want to make this a secular country. It'll be okay for you to go inside your church and say a prayer after you shut the door, but you can't be out in public and recognize God's influence and his many blessings on this country.
So many people are going to hear us talk like that, and they'll say, you just don't like President Obama because you're Republicans. Let's be specific. Tell me some ways in which you think the president has specifically targeted faith.
Well, for example, he issued his Thanksgiving address last year, which all presidents do, and I don't know who he was thanking, but it sure wasn't God. And then in the military, it's very curious. Order was issued to the families that they could not bring a Bible in if they come to visit their wounded soldier. Now, really, that couldn't last. And
what damage could a Bible do if they brought it into a wounded soldier?
Well, but you'd be on public property. And they want to redefine the First Amendment to say you can't be public about it. And so again and again, he has tried to get rid of any reference to God in public life. You know, when he was elected, he said he wanted to fundamentally transform the United States. And there's no more fundamental transformation than to get rid of. We all like to pledge allegiance to one nation under God, but he doesn't. He wants one nation under the federal government, especially the executive branch.
He has lost some serious cases, one in particular before the Supreme Court, Hosanna Tabor versus the EEOC. Describe that case.
Well, that's a very interesting case because this was a Lutheran school that fired the teacher for reasons of their own. You and I don't need to second guess their reasons. And she sued to get her job back, and she got the EEOC government lawyers to help her. So her case got to the Supreme Court. And, you know, that's not easy. It's only one case out of 100 that gets to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court was so shocked at hearing the government lawyers argue that the government could tell this Lutheran school they had to hire somebody as a teacher, that they slapped them down 9-0.
That's almost unheard of, a 9-0 vote at the Supreme Court. I mean, they can't even agree on the 3 colors of the flag, much less some complicated court case. So it must have been extraordinarily significant.
That means that Obama, he's not going to interfere with your actual church. But if the church is doing anything to help the community, running a school, running a college, running a hospital, running a charitable endeavor, you've got to submit to the government orders.
These are things that have happened in the first 4 years of the Obama administration. If he were to be reelected, what do you think he would try to push for? What are the limits that he would go for?
As Patrick Henry said, I know no way of judging the future but by the past, and I think it would be the same, only more so, because Obama fits right into this years of litigation by the ACLU and the atheists to get rid of all the Ten Commandments pictures and monuments, to get rid of the crosses that have been erected to honor our veterans, to stop some valedictorian from thanking God in her graduation message, or to stop little kids from singing Christmas carols. You know that's been going on for several years. And I think that's why when he appears, his followers chant, "You are the one we've been waiting for." He fits right into that, and he's done it so many times. You know, when he went to speak at Georgetown University, he demanded that they cover up the monogram for the initials of Jesus. He didn't want to see it while he was there.
It's just amazing to us. Well, all I can do is hope that this book, No Higher Power, will have the impact on today's generation of Americans to the same degree that It's a Choice, Not an Echo had upon the people of my generation, which was profound, and I believe was a major part of preparing for the resurgence of the conservative movement. Phyllis Schlafly, it is a joy to get to visit with you today.
Thank you, Mike. You're doing a great job.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week at the wrap-up from the Democratic National Convention. Until then, from New York, I'm Mike Huckabee. Good night, and God bless.